What's up guys, this is Corey with Gogeta Gym, back with another video for y'all today. So today we are continuing our look at set 7. Today we're going to be covering Sun Gohan Burn. So last week we covered the Sun Gohan Triple Flash, which I think is a great deck and archetype all by itself, but the Triple Flash stuff can pretty much be put in a lot of different leaders. I do think the Burn engine is pretty much restricted to Gohan just because of what the leader ability does. I think it's a really cool type of deck to have in the game now. You know, they've dabbled with burn effects before, but this is like a hard burn deck because the leader does it. So let's go ahead and get on into the list. Alright, so first up we've got our leader, Sun Gohan. So he's a 10k activate man once per turn, burst 2, choose one card in your life, add it to your hand, and then if your opponent has 5 or more life, deal 1 damage to them. So that's our burn effect right there on the leader. Whenever he awakens, he's a draw 2. On his backside, auto sparking 5. Whenever this card attacks, draw 1 card. And then auto once per turn, when none of your battle cards activates Alliance, choose up one of your opponent's battle cards with 30,000 power or less and KO it. Not super relevant, but it does become relevant at some points. And then activate main once per turn, sparking 5, choose 3 cards in your hand, place them in drop area, choose all of your red and green battle cards. They all and your leader gain plus 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. So, really great solid leader, one of the better leaders in set 7. So really cool stuff. We'll get into the actual list now. So first up we've got 4 intensifying power Trunks. He's just our 1 drop whenever he swings, take life, he gets plus 10k in crit, just great awakening. Critical pressure is really good. He's a Trunks GT, which is also really good. Just a lot of good stuff going around. Next up we've got 4 Wilderness Training Sun Gohan. So he's a 1 drop 1 red, whenever you play him, draw a card. He's relevant because he is a Sun Gohan youth, which we'll get into in a little bit, so that makes him good and why we need him. He's also a 5k, so later game, whenever we use our leader ability, it becomes a 15k, so that's not super irrelevant for us. Next up we've got 4 Broly Demonic Origins. So this is a 2 drop 1 red 1 green 15k. Energy Exhaust permanent. If there's a card that is both red and green in your energy area other than this card, negate this card's energy exhaust skill in all areas. So that's really nice. If you already charge a multicolored card, you don't have to rest this whenever you play it, so it doesn't put you behind. And then finally, auto, whenever you play this card, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, place it in the drop area. So it's drop area, but discard effect's not super relevant for us. The main relevant thing for us is that it's a multicolored card, which we're needing both red and green, so having a cheap option for that's nice. It's a 15k, so whenever our leader buffs everything, he becomes 25k, so he swings in for a nice number. All that kind of good stuff. Next up we've got 4 Son Goku and Piccolo Budding Friendship, so it's a 2 drop 1 red 1 green. 10k with energy exhaust, alliance red green. So whenever he attacks, you can tap down any of your red or green battle cards, and then he gains power equal to their power. So if you tap down 5k, he becomes a 15k. If you tap down like 10k, he becomes a 20k, so on and so forth. And then whenever, if you tap down a Sun Gohan Youth card, he gains critical, and then you draw 2 cards. So he becomes a 15k critical that draws you 2 cards. So it's really nice for 2. Really good overall solid card. Next up we've got 3 Fearless Pan. So she's a 3 drop 2 red 15k blocker, barrier, auto whenever you play this card. Choose all of your other red cards and red battle cards. They gain plus 5,000 power and double strike for the duration of the turn. So this is really good for our go wide strategy. It gives all of our cards plus 5k and double strike. Then you give them like the leader buff, so now they gain plus 15k and double strike. So just really good ways to kind of close out games early, or kind of like mid game. If you load up the board, you just blow up everything, make them huge and swing in. Next up we've got 3 Chain Attack Trunks. So it's a 4 drop 3 red, evolve for 2 red over a Trunks GT permanent. This card can attack active mode battle cards, which is nice. And then auto, whenever you play this card, choose 1 battle card from your hand and power 15,000 or less and play it. So this lets us cheat different things into play. Looking at things like the Fearless Pan, Broly Demonic Origins, like to a lesser degree, you could cheat that in. Some of the other cards we'll get into a little bit, he can cheat in. Just a really great card overall. Mainly, like I said, for this Fearless Pan cheat in. Alright, next up we've got 3 Super Saiyan Gogeta, the Acrobatic Warrior. Permanent, only 1 Super Saiyan Gogeta Acrobatic Warrior can be played in your battle area. And then auto, whenever a battle card that is both red and green with an energy cost of 5 is played in your battle area, activate this skill, you may play this card from your hand. And then auto, whenever this card is switched to rest mode by Alliance, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So there's more burn. So you can tap him down with the Sun Goku and Piccolo, and you burn your opponent damage. You put him into play, he's a 15k, so you can cheat him into play with the Chain Attack Trunks as well, which is somewhat relevant. Just all around pretty solid card. Just being able to cheat in a 15k for free is really nice, especially when you get to the point where you can start like buffing them and different things like that. Alright, next up we've got 4 Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta Resonant Explosion. So it's a 5-drop, 2 red, 1 green. 20k Double Strike Arrival for red green. So if there's a red and green card in your combo area, you can pay 1 red energy and put this card into play from your hand. So it's really strong there. It's a 5 cost with Arrival, so this puts in the Super Saiyan Gogeta Acrobatical Warrior into play. So kind of strategies there. It's removal. It's big 20k Double Striker, which is nice. And then it's got the auto whenever you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less, KO it, and you can't play Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta Resonant Explosion for the duration of the turn. So he's once per turn, you can pop something on both yours or your opponent's turn, which is really nice. Just a really solid card in general. Really pushes the aggro. Alright, next up, moving into our green stuff, we've got 4 Super Saiyan God Son Goku Energy of the Gods. So the 3 cost 1 green 15k permanent. If your opponent has 2 or more battle cards in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it becomes a 1-drop for 1 green, which is really nice. Auto Sparking 3, whenever you play this card, draw a card. So he's a 15k that draws a card, costs 1. He's a chain attack target, which is really nice. He's a 0-5k green combo card for Arrival. He's green energy. He checks all the boxes what we're needing for the deck. He's also green, so our leader gives him a pump. So like I said, just really effective, really good card. Next up, we've got 4 Super Saiyan God Vegeta Energy of the Gods. 3 cost 1 green. He's got the same permanent. If your opponent has 2 more battle cards in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So it's a 1-drop 15k, and then Auto Sparking 3. Whenever you play this card, choose any number of your opponent's battle cards, which total cost adds up to 2 or less to KO them. So he's got some nice removal on him as well. He's a cheap 15k. He checks all the boxes that the Goku checks as well. So he's just cheap green for us. And then finally, we've got 2 Surprise Attack Frieza. It's a 4-drop 15k critical. Auto activate this skill when your opponent's battle card is KO'd. If Surprise Attack Frieza is not in play, you can play it from your hand for free. So it just cheats in another 15k crit, which is really nice. He gets the leader buff. He's a chain attack target. He's green energy. Like I said, all the boxes are checked. Next up, we've got 2 Bardock Awakened Instincts. So he is a 4-drop Overwhelm for 4. Auto, whenever you play this card with Overwhelm, draw 2 cards, then choose 1 card in your hand, place it in the drop area. So we do have to be a little bit careful because our leader needs sparking for his effects to work, but we are a burst leader, so we're able to burst a lot. And if we're using the Arrival and stuff, we're comboing a lot of cards. So we are able to get him into play. That's why we're only running 2, because he's not something we can just play whenever. He's really great to play like after you use your leader ability to pitch 3 cards and buff the field. Then you can Sparking or Overwhelm and play him to draw 2, pitch 1. So you can kind of refill your hand that way. You get another 20k into play. So like I said, he's only a 2 because we can't use the effect just permanently like whenever. But I do think he's a great like addition to have just because he's such a strong card. And then moving into our ultimate, this is the set 7 Super Saiyan 3 Scramble, Raditz, Vegeta, and Broly. It's an 8-drop for 5 red and 3 green, I believe. No, 3 red, 2 green. He's ultimate, he's a 40k, Arrival red green for 3 red and 2 green, kind of the same thing. As long as there's a red green card in our combo area, we can just Arrival this on our opponent's turn or our turn. Auto, whenever you play this card, choose 1 card in your life and place it in your drop area, then deal 2 damage to your opponent. Then auto, when your opponent combos with a battle card with an energy cost of 2 or less, choose up to 1 card in your opponent's combo area and place it in its owner's drop area. So the best application of this is we burn our opponent down to 2, we just play it with Arrival and we win the game that way. If we can't get them down to 2 or whatever, it's still dealing 2 damage to them, so it makes it easier to kill them. Also, this effectively like almost removes all of your opponent's combo potential. So how his auto works is every single time they combo, this checks. As long as it's a 2 or less, that's battle card, you can place it in the drop area. A lot of the other Brolys and stuff like that are like a once per turn, or something like that. This is just a auto, whenever it happens effect. So you can pretty much like keep your opponent from comboing at that point. So it's really great to play. Like even if we can't get them down to 2 before we Arrival this, if we like bring this into play, use our leader ability to buff the board, and now they can't combo with 2 drops or less, like including super combos. It's just a really great effect for us, just kind of close out the game that way. So all in all, just a great solid card. And then finally for our super combos, we're running 4 of the support attacks and Goten. This is just a 4 less life super combo. It's largely irrelevant which super combo you run. as long as it's 0 10k I think is the best one to run, and then a draw card kind of stuff. But you can run the Bulma, you can run the Roshi, it really doesn't matter at that point. And then finally for our negate, we're running 4 after image technique. Well, it's not a actual negate. It gives our leader plus 40k and then something else minus 10k. It's sparking, so we can just play it for free. Just really great all-around card. It's one of the best negates in the game. It's not a real negate, it's like a pseudo negate, but it's one of the best of those effects in the game. So it's really great if you're red to have access to that. So moving on into kind of what we're doing with the list. Like I said, we're burn. We're using our leader to burn our opponent down to 4 as soon as possible. And then once we get them there, now we're kind of on a clock. So we've got a couple different burn effects. We've got the Acrobatic Warrior with the Arrival, so we can do that and just burn them down to 1. So now they're at 3 life. If that happens again, we can burn them down to 2 life that way and just win with the SCR. If that strategy doesn't work, like we talked about with the Fearless Pan and things like that, we can just flood the board and just swing with a bunch of huge, big, double strikers and just decimate our opponent that way. They're both valid strategies. The burn strategy is more of a longer game because we want to go to turn 5, versus the swarm is turn 4, turn 5 type stuff. They're not, they've not been able to get them down to 2 or whatever. Now we're just going to close the game because I've got 4 bodies on board that just gain plus 15k and double strike, and we're just going to swing in for game with all of them and just kill you that way. So a couple different routes to go about it. I do think the burn is super relevant, like I said. And I do think the deck is just overall strong. It's red good stuff. It includes some green stuff. We got some removal. We've got critical. We've got double strike. We've got all the really good stuff that we kind of want in a list like this in general. But anyway, guys, that is it, and we will see y'all next time.